Hey, it's Niclas, Cable Multistan for better health, and I've heard about it, you've heard about it, everyone has heard about it. Some pretty big major news in the K-pop world. HEESUNG of ENHYPEN has left the group, which is pretty damn shocking because members leaving groups is nothing unusual or unheard of in K-pop. It happens every month basically, especially when you look into like the new groups. But we're talking about like one of the biggest boy groups in K-pop and arguably the member of the group leaving. Like the equivalent would be, I don't know, Nayeon leaving Twice or Lily leaving NMIXX, you know what I mean? Like these big center names that are like the face of the group in one way or another, suddenly leaving the group, really out of nowhere. And that's what happened here. And in this video, I kind of just want to talk about the entire situation, but mostly talk about the reactions of the fans and how problematic I find them. Because don't get me wrong, I obviously understand that there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of like anger and just, you know, disbelief right now within the fandom, thinking like, why did this happen? Why did it happen so suddenly? I think that's the biggest question mark for many people. It just happened out of nowhere. There was like no... There were like no signs, you know what I mean? There was like no weeks of build where people were like, oh, he behaved weirdly and everything, or like, there was some radio silence here and there, just really out of nowhere dropped in the middle of them being within schedules and everything. So I totally understand why there is a lot of like question marks about that part of the whole thing. But like when you then look deeper into it and HEESUNG's own explanation as to why he left the group, then I feel like people are kind of running against the wall here and are kind of like ignorant towards how the reality is and what they want the reality to be. Again, ENHYPEN debuted 6 years ago, and HEESUNG was definitely like one of the biggest members. He was like one of the names of the group, like I mentioned earlier, comparable to like Nayeon of Twice or Lily of NMIXX. It's a really big sudden news, and it is like, why this is making such waves, you know what I mean? It's not like just one of the lesser known members of like a lesser known group departing. It's like a big name of a big group abruptly leaving. That's a big deal, and honestly people want to know why. And the main reason why it happened, or the explanation from all parties involved so far, is HEESUNG wants to become a soloist. His creative vision, his vision of music has become different to that of the group, and he now wants to pursue his own goals and his own desire to create music. And that in itself, in my opinion, is a completely normal thing to have. Okay, like I mentioned, it's been 6 years since I debuted, and I mean we've seen it with a group like BTS or Blackpink as well, where after years of group activities, the members wanted to branch out. They wanted to make even bigger names for themselves and focus on their own solo activities. So like that is something completely normal, and trust me, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of idols out there who are still within groups who probably maybe think the same way, where they're like, it's been so long since I've been in a group, I kind of really want to try and do my own thing. And the thing is, with most other groups, when this happens, they just get to release a solo. Okay, best example right now would be ITZY. Yeah, last year Yechi had her solo debut. Yuna has her solo debut soon as well, after they already had some like solo songs within the albums and whatnot. And that's like mentioned something that you see everywhere. Okay, so many groups have the members actually branch out and do their own thing. EXO did it. Like mentioned, Blackpink obviously did it. It's normal, yeah. This is obviously not normal because he left the group to do it. Like, that's the big difference. For all of these other parties, they stay with the group and just do their solo stuff while the rest of the group is like on a break or do their own thing. You know what I mean? Like, they did the group comeback and then there's like a couple of months in between, and then I want to do their own thing in the meantime. We see that happen every single month, basically. Here this time, he really said, hey, I want to be gone entirely from the group. I want to leave ENHYPEN as it is, and I really want to focus on my own career, which, yeah, is a pretty big deal, but also something I can absolutely understand. I mean, I go ahead and I look at his own written letter that he released after the news broke, and to me this all seems very sincere and also understandable, okay? Because again, it's one thing to pursue solo music and release your own EP or single, whatever, while you're still within a group, and it's then a totally different thing to actually detach off of that group and its activities and really be able to slowly focus on yourself. Because even though you will be doing like solo stuff, there would still all the group activities be remaining, and then obviously the group activities would take space again, or like the center of his attention going forward. You know, if he really wants to focus on his own career, then being in a group is more of a hindrance in that aspect. It would just soak up so much time. You know what I mean? It makes sense to say, hey, if I really want to focus on my own career or want to do things solo going forward, then maybe leaving the group is better than like just like trying to juggle both things at the same time. And that is something that I feel like people need to respect, you know? Because what happens here now is that despite this ladder and despite the explanations that have been given now, which in my opinion are understandable to a certain degree, people don't want to accept that. People don't want to believe it. People do not want to see this as it is. And are obviously now creating a lot of theories and like, this and that happened, and behind the scenes something must have happened. And the thing is, definitely, I absolutely agree, there was probably something happening behind the scenes that they're not going to be voicing out to the public though, and that's totally understandable. I mean, if you look back to Ginny leaving NMIXX, okay, they debuted as a 7-member group. She left like very early on actually, and it was also very abrupt, very sudden, nobody really knew why, and to this day, there was like really no bigger explanation or like no deeper look behind the curtain to explain why exactly they made that decision. Probably because it's just something that's too personal and too private to voice out to the public. Something that if you voice it out to the public, it would just create bad PR for all of the parties involved. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is the same thing here. Like again, I'm obviously very active on Twitter, and even though I'm not even that big into ENHYPEN, yeah, I didn't mention that in the beginning, ENHYPEN was never really a group that I was really as deep into as other boy groups. But again, this is such a big deal that it just like, it waves over into your feed no matter what. And so many people like mentioned creative theories and said this and that, and so many people were like, this is just bad PR, you know, like so abruptly announcing that a member leaves in the middle of their schedules, which again, I totally understand being upset about that. Like, imagine you like book a ticket to see them somewhere, and then one day before and suddenly like, oh, this member is leaving now, and now it's only 6 of them coming there. Yeah, it's not good, it's not ideal by any means, but if anything, that shows that there must have something happen that required them to have him leave the group immediately. And I promise you, it's definitely better PR to do this, where they're like having him leave this abruptly, than actually go into super high depth detail and say this and that, because it would probably just create even more problems. Because the thing is, if you look at the reactions right now already, just imagine how bad the reactions would be if you would get the deeper look behind the curtain. Again, I absolutely believe that HEESUNG wants to do his own thing and that he just wants to be able to really focus on his own without having to worry about group activities. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe something happened behind the scenes. Maybe it was a falling out with the other members. Yeah, maybe there were just some troubles and issues that they weren't able to find an agreement on, or like maybe just a genuine confrontation where like really members went head to head and things started to fall out there. Again, I'm not deep into the ENHYPEN world, so I don't keep up with like all the social stuff and all the content and whatnot, but I think you don't even need to, because please never forget that what you are seeing in front of the camera, what you are seeing on social media, it's never how things might really be behind the camera. Okay, what you get presented every single day on the socials of ENHYPEN, it's polished and it's made to make the boys look good, it's made to look the group look good, and it's made to just create this parasocial connection between the fans. Okay, which is why then going deeper behind the curtain, maybe revealing the truth of what happened, would completely have hell break loose. You know what I mean? Because people can barely accept what we've been told as it is. Imagine what it would be like if they actually get to hear what the real reason is. Then things will really get into directions you can't even imagine. You know what I mean? So many fans out there, and a lot of the fans that I've seen online, they're just too deep into this parasocial construct that the K-pop world is to even like fathom what may have really happened. And again, this is obviously also just theories by my side, right? I'm obviously also no all-seeing thing that knows exactly what's happening behind the scenes, but I will say for myself that I am someone that isn't that blinded by the parasocial aspect of K-pop and is able to look at things from a viewpoint that many others can't. You know, where I'm able to take off the Stan glasses, where I'm able to take off that K-pop Multistan glasses and actually look at it as a person from the outside and understand like business decisions and know that there's a human being behind the facade. Never forget that the idol that you are seeing every single day on social media is not that real human being. I know people will be like, but this idol and that, and they're always so real in front of the camera and whatnot. It's not the real human being, okay? Every single idol plays a role to some degree, and as honest they might be, and as much as they might be showing of themselves every single day, there will always be feelings, emotions, and just thoughts in that human being's mind that are not shown to the public. And that is definitely the case here. There probably happened something with HEESUNG and the rest of the group where he said, hey, I no longer want to be part of this group, I really want to do my own thing going forward. And this is the result of it. And I think that's just something that, if you're too deep into the parasocial construct, you'll be struggling to accept, and you'll be creating these own theories of like, mistreatment, and let's send trucks to sign a 1 million petition or whatever, which is like, again, I've seen this happen so many times by now. It doesn't even surprise me anymore. You know what I mean? Like this whole deal with the sending trucks to the office and whatnot, I think it's just so embarrassing. And it's just like mentioned, shows me these people just struggle to see the real world. They just struggle to see out of that K-pop sphere. They just struggle to understand how things just are. Okay? So HEESUNG leaving ENHYPEN is a big deal because it, like mentioned, once again puts such a puts the K-pop world as it is in the K-pop concert and the K-pop idol world that has been so carefully built over years once again onto the podium, and once again just put so many eyes and attention onto it, where people are like, is this really what's going on? There must be something more that happened. What are its true feelings? What is the real reason why all of this happened? Why did it happen so abruptly? And again, we'll probably never know it. Maybe in 10 years time, maybe once HEESUNG has left HYPE himself, or probably never. You know? Again, the entertainment industry as it is, it's so secretive, it's so never at the forefront. There's always things going on behind the scenes that we'll never know about, that you will never hear about. And this is just not one of those examples. Again, I totally understand why people are upset. I totally understand why people might be shocked and why people just struggle to accept that this is a reality now, that their favorite group just lost arguably one of the biggest members, or the biggest member. But that's just K-pop, man. That is unfortunately just the harsh reality that K-pop is sometimes. Things happening behind the scenes that we had no idea about, culminating in very sudden, abrupt moments like this. And yeah, I think that's honestly all I wanted to say, I think. Yeah, I just wanted to make this a little bit of a no-script, free-flow kind of talk about this entire situation, because, again, I said when I revived this channel, I don't just want to do music stuff at points, I sometimes also just want to talk about K-pop as a whole, because there's so much to talk about, and this is one of those big recent news drops where there's like so much to say. And actually, technically not, because again, we've seen this happen so many times. This is not the first time this happened. This is not the last time this will happen. That a big member will leave a big group like this. And yeah, all I can say is, I wish the best for HEESUNG. I hope he finds happiness and success in whatever he's trying to pursue, and that he'll be able to live a somewhat normal life despite everything that happened now. Because if anything, things are going to be troublesome now. Okay, I think things will definitely be challenging here, and I really hope that he can like be able to kind of ignore and kind of like picture out all of those voices and be able to truly do what fulfills him, because this is like the next thing. Okay, he now left the group for his reasons, because he wants to do his own thing, and now he has millions of voices out there trying to tell it's not the truth. You know, like completely dismissing his feelings, dismissing his own words and everything to like say, no, this is how it really was, this is how it actually happened. And just completely like in that moment disrespect HEESUNG, his own words and his own feelings. And I think that's pretty sad. And like I mentioned once again, a great showcase of how idols in K-pop are not looked at as human beings, but just another part, just parasocial world. And yeah, with that shall be it. Like mentioned, a bit of a talk video here. Probably not gonna happen very often. Like mentioned, if anything, once just another big news breaks where I feel like I need to drop my 2 cents and just kind of vent out my words, because again, so many tweets on my timeline, I'm just thinking, I can't fit this onto a tweet, so let's just talk it out like that. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below to show me that you did. Your thoughts on the whole situation down below in the comments as well. What do you think happened? What do you think is the true fear? You know, what are your feelings and thoughts on this whole situation down below in the comments? And as always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, if you want to support me, then gladly leave this up as well, or become a channel member to support me even further. It would help me a lot. And yeah, it's Niclas. Enjoy yourself some camp up, and I can't wait to see you back soon on my channel.